We're recording.
Perfect. All right.
Hey, by the
you
way,
don't need me to record.
I have to legally tell you you're being recorded.
Thank you.
And you don't need me to record.
John, go ahead and record just in case if you can do the audio.
I don't think I can.
Okay, I should be fine.
Okay. Well, sorry about that. Next time I can get it to where I'm recording everything.
All right, here we go. All right, and welcome to Outbreak Breakout Pandemic Podcast. My name is Keith, here once again with my buddies through the miracle of computer phone, Chuck.
Hey now.
And John.
Oh, don't be so fast there, Keith.
How?
It's John Exotic this time, baby. John Exotic.
You need
International
a mullet.
man of mystery, magician, exotic grizzlies trader, Grizzly King, if you will.
John is playing up the video portion of this podcast. We've started trying to record these video
You
portions.
may never see this.
Right. John looks like an extra from the opening scene of Jurassic Park.
As long as I'm not Dennis Nedry, I'm fine with that.
Right. Well, I believe Nedry is meeting with someone who's trying to be in disguise, and he's
I
like,
want to look like that guy.
yeah. How are you guys doing? I'm
Not
doing
well.
poor. I'm doing very poor. Chuck, what's your
I'm
number
like,
one concern? Is it just death? Is it rent?
No, they can't kick us out. Apparently, the eviction department of the sheriff's department is closed until the COVID's over, so I don't have to worry about getting evicted.
Thank
But
goodness.
I do have to worry about.
What does it say about zoos? Grizzly bear zoos.
We can talk about grizzly bear zoos. I've watched so much Netflix. I watched Tiger King on Sunday, which seems like 5 days ago, but I think it was 2.
I am calling from the Clay County prison systems. It's a collect call. Keep me on the line as long as you can, boys. It's lonely in here.
Is it okay to say I don't know what John's doing?
Yes. He's
Okay.
doing a Tiger King impression. Keith, you should have watched it.
Said, John's impersonations are so current. Like Tiger King just happened like 3 days ago.
Yeah.
Baby, we're in quarantine. You got to stay up on it.
Okay.
Yeah, he
Keith, will you marry me?
he sounds like Joe Exotic, looks like Doc Antle.
Was Netflix sitting
Doc
on
Antle
Tiger?
life goals.
Was Netflix sitting on Tiger King for a pandemic?
I've
They
got
were
no
like,
idea.
let's drop this right now. Like
It couldn't have come at a better time. It just has to do with big exotic animal owners, polyamory, swingers.
Look, Tiger King is
Amphetamines.
a no miss situation.
You
They
can't
could
go
have released
wrong.
this during the Super Bowl. And I'm not going to stop doing the voice until I do my game of scones, my exotic game of scones. So you're going to have to sit through this for a few segments.
So Chuck, it's just the lack of employment and not knowing what comes next is what's.
I mean, yes, we're going down a long, dark road, and it's going to lead us where we don't know. And it's much like a David Fincher film or something.
Ah.
But I don't know. It's
Get me hard over here.
There's
trying
just
to
so much
think.
unknowns, and I don't know what's going to happen. I have about a week and a half left of food, and I'm going to be okay. I'm not going to starve. I'm not
Right.
Gonna,
All right. Well, what I have for breakfast, Chuck, you'd be very interested in because I go to the local Walmarts and I get their spoiled food. I get all of their expired and spoiled food, and I have them bring it out to my zoo. You come on over, Chuck. We'll get some ham and eggs in that beer before you can say.
But I mean, as far as the quarantine goes, to quote Avon Barksdale in The Wire, you only do 2 days know-how. It's the day you go in and the day you come out.
Stolen from a Michael Mann film, stolen from many Michael Mann films.
That's my big take from all this. I don't know what day it is. I know what day I started, and I know what day I'll get out of here. But as it stands now, I'm pretending that I'm in like a cushy Swedish prison with my dog and Wi-Fi.
So I am acutely aware of how the time is passing. We are
Yes.
We are 13 days post MBA, 12 days post daycare. So like
I'm on day
I've been home.
26.
I'm on day 12 of just home with my children, and it's like, I know John is doing a fake voice so far
Forever.
but like I'm really upset. Like like I'm very upset right now, and
Yeah.
it's
Could be worse. You could be in prison with me.
it's like my 5-year-old has figured out that like we're not going back to school, like because we were on spring break, and it was like midway through spring break. He was like we go back to school on Monday, right? I was like, oh, or he said something like, I think the 2-year-old said, we go see our friends on Monday. And I was like, yeah, I think we might. And my 5-year-old picked up on my voice and was like, are we not going back to school on Monday? And it was like,
as a super villain.
but now it's like, oh no, we're home. Like we're home forever for a long time. And man, it is, I mean, the crushing weight of the actual pandemic is one thing. The also just being at home all day, every day with your children is like, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Like, and so that is,
it's one of the benefits of being a divorced man
yeah.
is that I get him for weekends. And that is all I have to look forward to now.
No,
Our
that's
weekend.
yeah, that sounds good.
Uh-huh.
But when I talk to Grandma Exotic on the phone every day of my exotic life, my life is John Exotic, grizzly trader, zookeeper, magician.
Look, I can't.
I noticed that she usually likes to scream at me for long periods of time, and all of that has gone out the window because she lived through the Depression and wars. So I guess staying at home and having to play video games and watching Tiger King ain't that bad. I'm mostly worried about this epidemic ending early. Because then if they let us back out in the streets too early, then I'm scared we're going to give it to each other, and then there will be no more grizzly cubs to sell.
This is a good worry to have. I'm glad you're taking a big picture view.
Chuck just took a huge bong rip on the podcast.
I'm Joe Exotic's campaign manager.
Should we do breakfast? Or actually, John, what guidepost do we have to get to for this voice to end? Is there?
As long as we can get to Game of Scones, I'm prepared to do breakfast and apology.
Oh my!
But I'm just gonna sit here, gay as hell, gayer than hell, until we get to the. I got a exotic Game of Scones.
Can you? Is this just a character acting, or this is a full immersion? You can't turn it off.
I'm stuck in here, man.
Turn it back on.
It's like me crying. It can't end. He's got the hat on.
Then, Keith, will you marry me? Will your 5-year-old son marry me?
Please.
Is there anyone younger than me that will marry me?
I will do anything.
Both of us at the same time. You are wearing a pink shirt, which is very apropos.
Keith, what'd you have for breakfast? I wish I could say this was part of the costume.
No, I had actually. I think I'm gonna put this up on Patreon. My wife bought Pop-Tarts. And as much as we are a breakfast-themed podcast, and as much as I have a sweet tooth and love all candied and sweet breakfast-type things, I don't think we've ever had Pop-Tarts in the house. And my wife was getting them because she has to now go into work. She has to go now to a nursing home all the time, which is awful. And
nice knowing you.
Yeah. Anyway, we're gonna start she's gonna start. We're sleeping apart as of today. Unrelated to the podcast. That is not what separated us.
Right on. Get on my level.
It was the pandemic.
Who would have ever thought basketball disappearing would lead to you not co-sleeping?
What in the world? You really would have thought I would have been safe while there was no basketball. Right. But she bought Pop-Tarts to bring to work with her early in the morning. But this is really funny. So she went to work today for the first time. In this, because she doesn't normally go in and treat like patients, but I was still asleep, or I'd fallen back asleep after she left, and my son found the Pop-Tarts, and he comes to me in bed, and he's like, Dad, what are these? Like he could tell by the box they were special. You know, he was like, this is something amazing, and I was like, son, That's a Pop-Tart. It tastes awesome. And so I'm gonna
What
put
flavor?
I'm gonna put brown sugar, just the brown sugar
Oh,
ones.
Oh, the greatest
with,
Pop-Tart there
with
ever
the
was.
glaze. But I actually filmed the 5-year-old and the 2-year-old trying Pop-Tarts for the first time. So I'll put that up on Patreon. But anyway, I watched them have Pop-Tarts. I guess I didn't actually eat the Pop-Tarts. I am not eating food because I'm trying not to leave the house and go through the rations of things. But they had Pop-Tarts. It was delightful. A wonderful parenting moment in the nightmarish hell world that we now live in.
Well, I'm glad to hear. That sounds amazing.
What John in
I
character?
had sundry expired meats from a Walmart dumpster. I've said this. Chuck, what did you have for breakfast?
Well, Exotic John.
John Exotic.
John Exotic, sorry. Maldonado.
Will you marry me?
Yeah,
John
so
Exotic,
I had
Anderson Parish.
ramen noodles for breakfast, and I put a little fried egg on top. I'm actually going in on the on my breakfast whatever plating. I did some diced green onions.
Oh yeah, gentrify that crappy ramen.
And I threw a little bit of sesame, like roasted sesame seed on there. So try to make it nice. Also, I don't just do the ramen packets. I threw a little curry powder in there too, just to kind of break up the MSG overload. So that was my breakfast. There are no rules. Rules are canceled. Breakfast doesn't matter. You just wake up and eat what you want, and that's what I did today.
A delicious breakfast soup.
But you said you bothered with plating. You really were concerned about the plating.
Well, I'm really taking like the time to like make myself seem like I have to do something with my time. So I'm taking some extra steps just to lighten up my day because it's just me in here. I've got nobody, guys. I've got nobody. So what I do is I just try to make everything a little more mindful, and I'm being more aware, and I'm trying to like not end up hung on my sex swing when this is all over with.
Well, I've seen you nude, and I can tell you're not hung, so don't worry about it, brother.
All right, those were our breakfasts. After our breakfast, we move on to our breakfast in bed apologies. This is our chance to make up or make right what we might have gotten wrong on any previous episode. It is often, I guess, the first time to talk about the NBA. If we're going to talk about the NBA, I don't even know.
There's
Anyway.
2 things that happened. There's only one thing that I want to talk about, and it's the blue. It's the blue arrow's red arrow,
Right.
or dark pink arrow. I don't know what color it is.
It's the blue
Talk
arrows.
to me, Daddy.
You're trying to say the blue arrow's red rocket. So
Yeah, it is.
The blue arrow's red rocket.
We'll get to that, baby.
I'll
Okay.
apologize. I'll apologize. This is something I wanted to talk to John about last week. I guess I'm sorry to, I want to say the MGM Grand and the Aria Sportsbook for having to refund my tickets for the losses I was going to make. Like, I'm pretty sure, so I'm sure you can clear this up. We spend a lot of time talking about our preseason over-under predictions. I actually placed some real bets this year through an intermediary.
Your wife.
Which was my wife. But I'm pretty sure, John, can you clear this up for me? I bet Pacers under 47 wins. That's going to be refunded, right? What are the casinos going to do?
I believe so. Casinos have to grade bets out.
You have to answer this in your real voice.
And online casinos. Online casinos are where you're going to run into trouble.
Okay. So what are the online casinos doing?
Because they're like Wild West. They're like Wild West, especially if it's offshores.
Yeah. If they're based in Argentina, what are they going to do?
And they could, like, I think with MVPs, Rookie of the Years, stuff like that, they could grade bets out and declare their own, as far as I know. Now, all the real casinos, they're probably just going to have to give everyone their money back. There are some things they could potentially grade out, like say if the Associated Press released an awards thing,
then those would be graded out. But until that happens, and I imagine, have you tried to get your money back yet? I imagine everything is still in flux.
I assume it's still in flux. No, I mean, I can't even, I have to physically either mail my ticket back to Las Vegas or go to Las Vegas to get my money out, I believe. But so right now I have 80 units.
Units.
Thank you. On the Pacers under 47, which was still, it was up in the air. I mean, it wasn't lost, but it's, they're not going to play a whole season out. So I assume all the over-under bets are like, will they cash out someone who bet the Grizzlies over since they already hit the Grizzlies over?
So I feel like those bets will be honored. That over has been hit.
It seems like an over would be honored, but they're not going to pay out any unders, right?
Unless it's a mathematic, impossibility that they could have.
So I feel like they wouldn't even do that. But you think if they're mathematically unable to hit their over, like the Warriors, like are they going to pay out a Warriors under?
I think if they'll pay out an over, they'll pay out an under.
So what about
mathematically? They're going to have the opportunity. There will be a grading of bets, by the gaming commission, and they'll have to adhere to that.
That's going to be amazing. So I guess what I'm hoping for. So I have 80 units on the Pacers.
Units.
I'm hoping to get back. I have 20 units on a Steph Curry MVP, which I could apologize for, and I have 20 units on that Brandon Clark 300-1 Rookie of the Year. So I'm fine with those. I mean, those were long shots just for entertainment purposes.
It's very rare that someone out bad gambles me on a season, and I think you did it with 3 bets.
There is no chance you can convince me Brandon Clark 300-1 was a bad bet. But no, so like the Steph Curry.
I think he would have finished 19th in the MVP voting this year.
He actually
Rookie of the Year voting.
ESPN just did the Rookie of the Year voting. He finished 4th. Thank you very much.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
But those were like a different category of betting. Those were like entertainment long shot betting, or at least the Steph Curry was just boredom. The Brandon Clark was entertainment long shot. The Indiana Pacers one was I'm trying to make money. This feels stupid. And I guess if I get that $80 back at some point, 80 units back at some point, I should just be happy.
Sure.
So John, you
I'm afraid to look, man. I don't want to look.
So you wager now mainly online because your personal in-person bookie is perhaps filming an HBO documentary about his life?
I still used an old friend to bet in Vegas this year.
Okay.
For most of mine, just because we had the opportunity. But I prefer to just bet through some weird guy I text, some exotic gentleman.
So you're saying what eventually what will happen when this season gets to some form of resolution or decides to head to the playoffs? Then there's some kind of on high gaming commission that makes a ruling on everything that's happened?
I don't know if the gaming commission does it or if each casino gets to do it themselves, but they do grade out bets, and that's how it works. And it's going to be saucy.
Well, it's going to be, I mean, obviously the casinos are getting crushed by the virus because they're shut down. Sorry to Tillman Furtada and Sheldon Anderson and other casino magnates losing lots of money. But this is going to be another loss because casinos, I mean, they win. The bettors lose when it comes to these season-long bets. Even if the Lakers hit their over, they're still going to win on everything else. And
I would think the sheer amount of vig that they're losing on these bets, because they're not. Yeah. These bets are just going to be returned.
Right.
I would say this is a disaster to the casinos, unequivocally.
I would guess the next question would be, how long am I going to have to either mail in my ticket or go there? Because there has to be some concern about people who have outstanding bets who just aren't going to come collect on their 80 units. You know, that like I have to physically try to get that money back from Las Vegas.
I think they're hoping and praying that most of the little ladies who made bets for their big tall husbands just forgot about it and have bigger things to think about. But it seems to me like just worse than the Giants winning the Super Bowl.
I mean, I have bigger things to think about, but right now I'm choosing to focus on $80 because that's entertaining, and
That's how you do it.
I'll do that. Anyway, do you guys have anything y'all need to apologize for? That's my weird side apology to the casinos. Yes, Chuck.
I apologize for not being on Instagram at 3 a.m. to catch Jamal Murray just wilding all the way out, going ham with a young lady on his Instagram stories. I wish I was there. I wasn't. Someone send me a link in my Twitter if you don't mind.
So what is you're gonna have to explain what took place?
So Jamal Murray unknowingly put a video of a young lady giving his exotic the Joe or
Hold
Joey.
on.
The blue arrow red rocket.
Did you say young man's penis in a former fashion?
Yeah,
I'm with you.
There was a beautiful tall man's penis who probably wears a size 16 shoe.
Chuck,
in a young lady's mouth.
Chuck, I have a question.
Yes.
I have not seen the video. My only question.
How do you see the video?
That's what I'm trying to find out. I'm trying to outsource it to our listeners. Whoever got it.
Oh, wait, Chuck, have you not seen it?
I haven't. No.
Oh, well, my question.
Why are you even on this podcast?
Yeah, Chuck, I'm sorry. You've actually just been replaced. No, my question was, is Jamal Murray's face on the video?
No, it's on it's her face and his head.
Well, Chuck, when a man loves a man, he puts his face down. Chuck, take it from here, please.
But I guess if anyone doesn't know, I mean, Jamal Murray's Instagram, on his Instagram story, he posted someone having oral sex. Mm-hmm. He claimed he was hacked. My question from someone who's not going to find the video is there any chance he was hacked? Was that someone else's red rocket on the Blue Arrows Instagram feed?
Impossible. Completely impossible that it wasn't his penis.
What if it was Nick Young?
Well, how?
Jamal Murray was snitching him out. You know,
was it wearing a Jamal? Was it wearing a Jamal Murray jersey? Well, I mean, what do you mean? What do you mean? There's no question.
I mean, it's on his Instagram. He was probably trying to send it to his close friends. This is what happens. Okay. When there's a button next to you can send them to videos to your close friends. And this is things that unsavory men do. They take a video and they sent it to their friends, but not their story. Well, he accidentally, probably because he was on that Mile High Kush, sent the video to his feed instead of his homies.
And just like that, Chuck has confessed to many transgressions.
Well, so that makes more sense to me, Chuck, because when I go into Instagram, there's a few times where I'll have a notification because I have my personal Instagram and the Fastbreak Break Instagram, and I have notifications, but sometimes I don't know where the notifications are. And I click on the home, and then I click on a button, and then I click on an arrow, and then sometimes it ends up where there's a camera, and I'm briefly terrified that I have started recording or broadcasting. That happens to me a lot. So you feel fairly confident that he was just trying to text his buddies or text someone.
It could have tried to send it to the girl who was giving it to him. That could have been a thing, a shared moment that they had, a sweet digital moment of love where they decided.
So sweet.
Where he's like, baby, I'm going to send you this. This going to make you remember me. But I did see a picture of her.
That's an accurate Jamal Murray impression.
I was doing my Joe Exotic. Have you ever seen a penis in a porno? Would you rather it be a big one or a tiny one? John, what would you rather it be?
Young, virile.
And you're not all the way straight, are you?
So you guys are assuring me listeners will understand what you're talking about.
No, but look, it's fine. It's interesting nonetheless.
All right, I'd like to apologize to all the grizzlies.
Yes, John. Okay,
Memphis Grizzlies that aren't baby grizzlies because at the end of a season like this, I can only make money off my baby grizzlies. I'm gonna have to euthanize the likes of well, hell, all the grizzlies are pretty young, but I don't know. Jonas Valanciunas is getting up there in age. We already euthanized Jay Crowder. We euthanized the hell out of Andre Iguodala. But all them grizzlies that aren't baby grizzlies, I'm just gonna have to bid them adieu and send them to that Doc Antle euthanization station in the sky. But
Keith,
speaking about all these grizzlies and tigers and exotic animals, I do have an exotic game of scones, boys and girls.
Dinklage, Peter Dinklage, Peter Dinklage, Peter Dinklage, Skype phasing.
All right, cats and kittens. First pussy to 15 points wins this exotic game of scones. You get to take turns naming mascots that I, John Exotic, would be interesting in exhibiting / owning / selling / profiteering from / euthanizing. And if you can give me the names, you get a bonus point.
Okay.
Caveat, no bears of any kind. I need you to name the mascots that are exotic enough for John Exotic to sell on the black market. And you get a bonus point if you can give me the name of that mascot. I'm going to give you the city. And Chuck, since I don't like you, I'm going to make you go last.
Is this only basketball?
This is only basketball. Only
Okay.
NBA mascot.
Okay, NBA mascots.
I'm not going to give you the city. I'm just going to let you go kick it from the dome.
Oh, you want me just to throw out an exotic animal? Can I go with Chuck the Condor for the LA Clippers?
Absolutely. That is 2 points for Keith.
All
2
right.
points. Kicking us off strong. Chuck the Condor, I could sell them. I could sell helicondors. Chuck, your turn.
You gonna give me the city?
No, I'm not. I'm not going to give you anything at all.
How about the Hawks?
Can you get that bonus point by giving me the name?
Hey, wait, he gets a point just for naming an NBA team?
You got that is the correct name. That is the correct one. If you can give me the name, you get another point.
Harvey the Hawk? I don't know.
So close. Keith, can you steal it?
I don't know. I don't even know what the Hawk's name is. It Benny?
Harry the Hawk.
Harry
the
I don't
Hawk.
know. I don't know. I don't know that one. All right, so it's 2-1. I'm up 2-1. I'm gonna go with Pierre the Pelican.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
That's another strong 2 points.
Stick with the birds. Stick with the Red Dead Redemption trophies.
I will
you can
give you a
receive.
bonus point. I'll give you a bonus point if you can give me another New Orleans related exotic animal that I will.
Are you allowed to sell the carcass of the king cake baby?
Absolutely. That's the cryptozoological. Keith is taking a 5-1 lead.
What's the Rocky the mountain lion, the Denver Nuggets Rocky?
Very impressed. That's 2 points for Chuck. Rocky the mountain lion in Denver could yield me $2,000-$3,000. Keith, what have you?
Oh man, what are the other? Here's one. I think on the black market, this one would fetch you a great sum if you could get stuffed the Magic Dragon from the Magic.
That is the double down, daily double answer. Because not only is stuffed the Magic Dragon a zoological find, he's also magic. I'm a magician. That's worth 5 points. Keith, you have taken a 10-3 lead.
What about Bernie, the Miami Heat mascot, who's also from a land of magic and
Bernie's not an
mystery?
animal. Bernie's not an animal.
I was ready for this. I think Bernie is an actual ball of fire, and I just can't sell it. I cannot sell that, Chuck. I'm sorry.
All right.
I don't know what. Yeah, but I don't think Bernie's an animal, and I agree with your ruling there.
Look, I know exotic.
What
Keith,
are the
your turn.
other? I mean, if I just say an NBA team, I get 1 point, right?
You got it? Hey, maybe there are some mascots that are not connotative to.
Oh,
their
how
team.
about the Suns Gorilla? His just name's Gorilla, right?
He has a name, but you have secured 1 point.
All right. I don't
Have
know
the name?
No, I don't know his name.
Chuck, can you steal the name? That
No.
beautiful baby gorilla's name
No.
is Go.
Harambe.
His name's
Go the
Go?
gorilla.
That's
Go the
terrible.
gorilla.
That's really weird. All right.
Chuck, we got 4 more that I can sell. Little baby exotic animals, Chuck. Little baby exotic animals.
Benny the Bull.
Chuck, bulls are in no way exotic. I do have one tattooed on my upper crotch area, but they are in no way exotic. I'm gonna have to say no on
Oh,
that.
Benny the Bull's a good one. Come on.
You can't make no money off of it.
He thought of an. Yeah, I was trying to think. I was going to say. I'm blanking on his name right now, but the Pistons horse.
You think a horse is exotic? Next. I could sell a horse. I'll ride a horse all day and all night. Can't sell no horse. Back to you, Chuck. We're running out of time here.
Let me do. Man, I don't know. What's the middle? I don't know. I don't know, man.
Don't
I'm
be so
out.
depressed. You're not going to go with can I steal?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
still.
Can you sell Bango the Buck?
Hell no. That's something anyone can procure you a buck and some venison.
Is his name
I'm
Bango?
John Exotic.
I'm not. I've had too many drinks and I'm doubting myself.
All right. I'm going to give you a hint.
Okay.
Keith referenced a place that this exotic animal could only be found in the world of cinema earlier on the show.
Oh, is there a raptor?
Do you know how much money I can sell a raptor for? That's correct. And you get 2 points because his name is the Raptor.
His name is
you are
the
up
Raptor?
to 13 points.
This game's over.
You can get 1 more.
This game's
Chuck,
over.
take another swing, you depressed so-and-so.
What is the Hornet? The Hugo the Hornet?
I can sell a hornet. First of all, that's not even in the animal kingdom.
You can't sell a 6-foot tall hornet?
I'm declaring Keith. Those are men in costumes. Well, I'm declaring Keith the winner. Other acceptable answers would have been Boomer, the Pacers Panther, Crunch, the Timberwolf out of Minnesota.
I was
do well
about
in
my next answer was going to be that I knew a wolf hide went for a lot at the trading post on Red Dead Redemption.
And then the ring-a-ling-ding-a-ling-ding-dong name that would have won it all is Lucky the Leprechaun, the Boston Celtics. If you could have brought me an actual leprechaun, a wee man, I might have married the little feller.
Boys,
that's it from Exotic John. I saw a grizzly, and a grizzly saw a man. Okay, Keith's the winner. Thank you for rescuing me from that voice. I'm sorry.
Thank you for anyone still with us.
I never want that to end.
Quarantine podcast.
Those were our breakfast in bed apologies. Before we get to whatever is coming next in the show, we have a few listener submitted questions. The croissant questionnaire.
Feeling Minnesota asks, if you were quarantined for 14 days and you only had one television series you'd be allowed to watch, which show would you choose?
It's Tiger King. I'm about to watch it again.
How many episodes is Tiger King? How long is
it?
Seven.
So
Well, I'm about to watch it again.
Oh, okay.
I need more. I need more hours. I love Tiger King, obviously, but I need more hours.
Well,
so one of the more ambitious things I ever did in my horrible life is I did a March Madness bracket for every TV show ever. And I got a bunch of
was your name theringer.com?
Pop, this is pre-Ringer.
Yeah.
This was years ago, and I got a bunch of critics and pop pundits, like a lot of Nashville scene people and a lot of people that I knew in that world. And it came down to Sopranos and The Simpsons. Yeah. And for me, that's an easy Sopranos. But I do understand why, if you only had one television series, and you want to take the best episodes of anything ever, Simpsons could be a candidate. You're not, the first 6-7 years are pretty unimpeachable. I mean, that's the good thing. We have 14 days here.
If you have 14 days, I mean, how many Simpsons can you honestly watch? There's 1,200, aren't there?
1,000, yes.
Yeah, So I'm in this. I mean, we're living this situation. Although I think feeling Minnesota's question is kind of funny, where it's like if you were quarantined for 14 days, 14 days, we're quarantined for like 75 days. Like we're currently
But
in
hey,
a much
man, maybe he's a
worse-
Republican.
Oh, okay.
They buy
yeah.
sneakers too.
Yeah, Drew is going back out next week. No, if it was only one TV show, that was interesting. Like if it was Simpsons, which I've largely haven't seen The Simpsons. I've probably seen 30 episodes. Like it's a big blind spot for me where I haven't seen The Simpsons. But if you were telling me for just 2 weeks, if I could only watch The Simpsons or only like watch The Sopranos, which I've seen once, I would probably just rewatch The Sopranos, knowing I could stretch that out easily over either 14 days or 75 days. But my true answer of like what, if I could only watch one TV show for the next 2-3 months, it actually would be the Larry Sanders Show. Like right now, the Larry Sanders Show is my like safe spot.
Right.
Like I am a Republican in the sense that I'm just sticking my head in the sand and telling myself it's okay. And I do that for like an hour every night watching the Larry Sanders Show has become my oasis and like my escape to be like, oh, this is fun. This is like pop stars from like my formative teenage years. And it's like it's a weird nostalgia. Like I didn't watch it when it was on originally, but now it's like a weird world I disappear into. And it's actually funny. Like I've been trapped at home with my kids. I can't really podcast during the day. I can't really do much of anything. My 2-year-old has quit taking naps. And so it's now like I'm just with the kids all day. So the one thing I started doing for fun though is I started drawing a floor plan of the Larry Sanders office and studio, like using the numerous walk and talk moments or like the camera. So like I've started sketching out like the actual architectural floor plan of like, all right, the theater's in here. We go down this hallway. There's a turn. Like here's a bathroom. Here's wardrobe. Here's makeup and hair. And like I've started drawing all the little things. Like, oh, here's the bullpen. And I have a lot of questions. Like now I've hit the point where I'm like, Larry Sanders' office has a window, but it seems to face the walkway towards the theater. So is that just a courtyard? So now I've almost finished up my like seen enough episodes, and I'm connecting like, oh, there's Artie's office, there's Hank's. It's how it all fits together. And I've now hit the point where I've gone online to the CBS Studio City website with their office rentals, trying to find the office where they actually shot it. Because I want to compare my notes. So that's what I'm doing at home right now.
We lost you for a second there.
Oh, did you lose me? Okay, well, I was saying I've gone online to the CBS Studios Studio City website where they actually have the office layouts.
This is troublesome behavior.
I'm stuck in. I haven't found their actual studio, but so right now I have a hand drawn Larry Sanders studio little just floor plan layout. And that's what gives me peace and it lets me relax a little. It's my fun little game. And I have no artistic skills. I'm so bad at drawing. So like eventually I'm going to maybe get some graph paper and try to get it exact. I did Google it, and maybe it already exists out there. But this is what I've been entertaining myself with the last 2 days.
So
while my kids watch Disney Plus, I've been sketching out the floor plan of the Larry Sanders studio.
So when Keith doesn't have Devin Booker stat lines to pile through, finding weird historical whatever things.
Keith has given me extreme John Malkovich in the movie where he kills Clint Eastwood, where he tries to kill the president, and Clint Eastwood
in the line of fire.
Yes, in the line of fire. You're giving me
If Gary Shandling wasn't already dead, I'd be afraid. I'd be afraid Keith would do a King of Comedy thing, and he's
gonna build a gun out of a beer can.
I mean, the next time you watch this show, just keep in mind every time they walk through a hallway, how many doors there are. There's a crazy number of doors in every scene. And
I'm like, the moment we find out Keith's never been in an office building.
Well, I'm like, but still, it's like, is that a closet? That's got to be a closet. Like, there's too many doors here. Like that door backs up to
How
door backs up to
many-
Hank's office. That's got to be a closet, So this is what I've been doing. I'm on my third or fourth rewatch of the series, but now I've hit a point where if they do a long walk and talk and it covers, I mean, this is again, I've mentioned Red Dead Redemption. I mean, a lot. Like this is the uncovering the map that's hidden. It's like it's covered by the cloud, and now I'm like uncovering parts of the map. So now
instead of watching a TV show, I just want to watch a webcam of Keith watching and
yeah,
Jake Gyllenhaaling the Zodiac killer that is the Larry David office setup.
So if I had 14 days in this ridiculous question when our true prison sentence is like 70 to 90 days, that would be my one show.
This is a slightly tangential but related. So I have like one Trump meltdown every 36 hours.
Okay.
And I find myself watching a movie when I can't focus on anything else. I try to watch a movie. And I just noticed after 10 days, they've all been monster movies.
Oh, really?
So I've watched like Piranha. I've watched Deep Rising. I've watched Jurassic Park. And then I'm like, why am I watching monster movies? And I have no idea why, but that's my Jungian armchair philosophy or psychiatry. If any of you out there want to help me out, hit us up at Roy Ira on Twitter. Monte World Peace asks, what are the most iconic pairings of songs and teams? Sirius and the Bulls are pretty simultaneous, come to mind easily. The Final Countdown and the Pistons had a run. Are there others?
I mean,
well, I'm going to say it since Keith won't say it. I'll say it. Whoop that trick. Memphis Grizzlies.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say this is a hard question for me. It's the Final Countdown and the Pistons, and that was part of the question. I don't have a good concept of what other songs are associated with other teams. I don't know if that's a league past lifestyle.
I love LA that many
and games
the Lakers.
Yeah.
I would say, what's the Glenn Fry song that the Heat used? Feel the Heat.
Yeah.
The Heat is on.
The Heat is on.
Heat is on. That's pretty iconic.
Well, in the late '90s, the Heat in their local broadcasts had a R&B song sang by somebody local that was kind of amazing. That I could sing it for you if you'd like.
Please.
Can you feel the heat down in your soul? Feel the heat down in your soul. Can you see the heat? They're in control. See the heat? They're in control. Can you feel it? Can you see it? It's Miami Heat.
I don't think I've ever said this, but I think the Glenn Fry song is better. I'm ashamed to admit I didn't know about the Final Countdown and the Pistons. I didn't know
either.
That.
Isn't that the? I remember that from my childhood. I feel like.
Man, but yeah, an awesome song. Don't get me wrong. Europe bangers, only bangers.
Yeah,
for me, the most iconic is definitely Alan Parsons' Project Sirius and the Bulls. I mean, that's the greatest intro music ever.
Yeah.
I mean, until somebody comes out to Giorgio Moroder's The Chase, like the Midnight Express used to do in the 1980s and 90s, then we're going to be toast. But Whoop That Trick and the Grizzlies is big for me. I always think of I Love LA. I'm sure, I think the Dallas Mavericks use Deutschland über alles now. And that seems like a very iconic pairing. But I'm not sure. I guess we don't really. I mean, Monte kind of answered the question within the question.
Yeah. I just say I have just pure ignorance. I don't know. I'm sure there's lots of others, and depending on your market, you have the associated song with your team. But I don't know what they are. So sorry.
All right. Last question, and again, perfect question from the Tixie Mista. Better abs, Tyler Durden from Fight Club, or Hellboy? Love you, Hellboy.
Tyler Durden all day.
Chuck, you're an expert on the human body. Give me your take on this.
Well, Hellboy's not a real person. Tyler
Durden wait a minute.
Isn't either.
Hellboy does not fall into the Michelangelo. That is a hero and a half shell. Those aren't abs. Hellboy has abs, sir.
Better abs, Hellboy or Michelangelo, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle.
Well, I think we've established that Michelangelo, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, has been disqualified.
I thought we established the other thing. He has 2 pecs and 4 abs.
They are hard as rocks. They are hard and carapace. They're actually armed.
Who's the guy that played Hellboy in the movies?
There's 2. There is Ron Perlman and that idiot from Stranger Things.
Oh, so I saw Ron Perlman at a Heat Knicks game at Madison Square Garden. He is 5'6", which
Right.
blew me away.
Yeah, he's not big.
He is a tiny man, tiny little man,
And he can't ride a motorcycle.
and for sure doesn't have any abs.
No, those were abs from a suit.
So if we got to, calculate all these in, if we're bringing just the cinematic Hellboy and not the actual, the from the comic books and stuff, I'm going with Tyler Durden because those weren't CGI abs. Those were real
You could
deal.
exfoliate. You could rub the hair off of Trae Young's head with Tyler Durden's abs. Yeah, those are serious washboard. Those might be really. I think Brad Pitt and Fight Club abs are the top-notch king abs of all time.
Right. No, that's what we're talking about. And
Yeah, so
I also concur. I would say, not to go too far, the Tyler Durden abs were important in my life.
Oh,
They were like, that was me in college, and I was like, that's what I want to be. And I'm devoting a summer of working out. I'm like looking at Brad Pitt, being like, I want to touch those abs. I've never wanted to touch Hellboy's abs. Tyler Durden's abs, I was like, all right, that is pretty amazing.
And, honestly, points. Let me get nerdy on this. Points taken away from Hellboy because I don't know if you guys ever read the comic book, but Hellboy's abs in the comic book, Mike Mignola just draws a T.
Oh,
it's there's the abs. There's your abs. That's just like a movie thing where every superhero has to have abs sculpted into their nipples and stuff. And it's just a superhero thing.
Congratulations, Brad Pitt, on having the Tyler Durden abs.
Abs.
All right, so those were our croissant queries, the croissant questionnaire. If you have your own questions that you want to be answered on air, you have to become a Patreon supporter. That's patreon.com/Fastbreak Breakfast. I will also put up a video of my children eating Pop-Tarts for the first time.
Hey, now.
Other bonus stuff. We're recording our bonus episode that goes up only to our Patreon supporters. So you can get into that for just $1. The Millennial Brunch $500 croissant will be out shortly after this episode. And it's also basically the only way this podcast is making money. With the shutdown of most things. Although, shout out 5 Hour Energy, who keeps, every time I listen to our podcast back, they keep plugging. So people are still buying the energy drink.
You can't stop the 5 Hour Energy drink.
Yeah, but RIP Argentinian casinos, RIP SeatGeek, taking a knee for a few months. But anyway, if you want to have your question answered on air, if you want to get access to our listener Slack, where we're talking about stuff all the time, you support the show, patreon.com/fastbreakbreakfast. Once again, patreon.com/fastbreakbreakfast. All right. Hassan Whiteside cocks it back to Waffle House presents Scattered, Smothered, Covered, Thoughts and/or Steak and Eggs, Best Thing, Cream of Wheat, Worst of Week. Segment.
We're more off the rails than Zach Lowe after one Pilsner, baby.
Did you guys hear the Zach Lowe, Rachel, what's her name?
Nichols?
Nichols, thank you. Yeah, their last podcast was very serious and touching and was far superior for me than any of their other podcasts.
I was watching Piranha.
There you were relaxing in the world of Piranha.
It's on my third watch of Tiger King.
No, I didn't see it. What happened?
No, it was just them talking on the phone, but normally whenever Zach Lowe says something interesting,
right,
20 seconds or 10 seconds later, he's like, that's enough of that. Let's talk about hedging the pick and roll or something. But he didn't have that. And he was just talking about this is weird. We're moving to Connecticut for a while. I tried to stay in New York for a little bit and then realized this was an insane, terrible. It was just, I don't know. It's just honest talking. And it was I really enjoyed it, I guess, where I normally don't. But,
well, it's when we start to find out about these people's personalities, I think it's a much more impressive and interesting world that we can live in, because we've seen year after year these people talk about the same stuff, and now we get to hear him have takes about things that aren't that are have a little higher stakes.
Look,
So
I'll let
it
you
is.
get to know the Croatian sensation Zach Lowe, and I'll be over here watching Treat Williams shoot a space octopus. Okay, I have no interest in hearing anything about his real life. Please talk about which team's ice the pick and roll best. Please, God, don't talk to Rachel Nichols about which home in Connecticut you're going to go to. That's not going to rev my engine. I'm gonna have to back away from Keith's take here and turn on my Netflix and chill, I guess.
No, I mean
All by
it was a thing where, like, normally I feel like Rachel Nichols does a thing where she like kind of half flirts with Zach, and then she kind of insults him the whole time. Like she does like reverse negging, where she's like, "You're such a dork, you got to do this," and I don't like it that much. But this was just like Zach Lowe being like, "I recognize I'm incredibly fortunate that I was able to rent a home out of the city," and it was so honest and not focused on the basketball that I did really like it. But that isn't my, like, I guess my thing I wanted to talk about. I was actually looking at NBA stats. So when I'm not drawing the floor design to the Larry Sanders show.
Hold on. This is Keith's questionable quarantine quiche quest for statistical infamy.
Oh, thank you. So I've been looking up some stats. Like I got real excited looking at like how incredibly terrible LeBron James and Luka Doncic, how bad their clutch stats were this year. Like the NBA does those clutch stats, which is the last 5 minutes of a game if the score's within 5. And like LeBron James and Luka are both shooting 33% and both shooting 17% from 3. Both of them are shooting 65% basically from the free throw line. So I was really cracking up at that. And I started diving down these like deep rabbit holes of just statistics because, like there's nothing else to watch. I watched an entire loop, because you can go on stats.nba and you can click on any stat and they have all the videos of those plays. Like you can watch every like Duncan Robinson 3-pointer if you wanted to. So I went back. Yeah, I went back to the 2015 season and watched every one of Tony Allen's steals. And I knew he's trick or treat Tony. I actually forgot the number of those where he got a steal, breakaway, and missed the layup. It is
40% of the time.
No. Without exaggeration, it's somewhere around like 20 to 25%. Like 1 out of 4 or 1 out of 5, he has a fast break layup and he misses it or turns it over. But I was diving into some more stats, like figuring out what else I could find out, like who are the good clutch shooters and such. And then I was looking at like the best net ratings. And as far as the best, this is what I was most interested in. And I started looking at the best and worst, like 3-man, 4-man, 5-man net ratings, according to the NBA.com stats. And I guess this will be fun. I think this will be fun. Let's do a song. Let's do a little song here.
Oh.
Peter Dinklage.
I saw a tiger.
All right, so here's how we're gonna do. We're gonna make this game a little more fun. So this is the 3-man units. This is the best 3-man units in the NBA with a minimum of 200 minutes played together. So we have a lot of people. So here's how it's going to work. You get 1 point for a correct team in the top 25. These are the top 25 3-man units. You get a point if you just get the team right. And then you get a point for every member of the unit you can name. I guess I should probably give you some bonus if you get a 3-man unit exactly right. But that's the game. These are the top 3-man units in net rating according to NBA.com with a minimum of 200 minutes played. So these guys have all played a significant number of minutes. You get a point just for getting the team right. So, John,
okay,
why don't you go since you administered the first game of scones?
I'll go with the Heat.
The Miami Heat. Do they have a 3-man unit in the top 25? No, they do not.
Oh,
that is a strike.
Auspicious stuff.
For John. However, I will say in top 5-man units, John, there are some Heat lineups out there, and they have Duncan Robinson.
I don't even understand how you would. Okay.
These are 3-man units.
I'm going with
Ghost Ballers.
I'm gonna go with the LA Lakers.
The LA Lakers have 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 of the top 25 three-man units are LA Lakers. Chuck,
Chuck
now's
picked their
the
three
time.
good players.
Now is the time when you're in the pinball and it went up on like the upper level and you're just going to rack some points. So Chuck,
Right.
you have 1 point. So every player you can name that is involved with one of these, and maybe you'll get a double bingo if you get a three-man unit exactly right. So go ahead, Chuck.
LeBron, Anthony Davis,
Okay. Slow down. Yes and yes.
and
There you can get a double bingo. We're going to call it 5 points total. If you can name the third member, there's one LeBron Anthony Davis unit. If you can name the next member of this unit, you will get a full 5 points.
Do it.
Kentavious Caldwell Pope.
No.
What?
No, your hint was going to be who is the best player on the Lakers.
Yeah.
LeBron, Anthony Davis, and Alex Caruso.
Yes.
That would have been correct.
Why did you do it?
LeBron, Anthony Davis, and Alex Caruso is the 21st best three-man unit in the NBA. But still, we're going to give Chuck 5 points for that incredible run right there. All right, John, ball's back in your court. All the Lakers units are off the table. Units!
Milwaukee Bucks.
The Milwaukee Bucks is correct. They have, it looks like they have 3. They have 3 of the top 25 units are Milwaukee Bucks. So you want to try to get a perfect three-man lineup?
Giannis, Brolo, Bledsoe.
Giannis, Brolo, Bledsoe. You went so fast. Those not correct. We have multiple Giannis, Bledsoe ones. Giannis and Bledsoe, it would have been correct if you would have gone
Their second best player, Chris.
Wes Matthews.
Wow.
Their second best player,
DiVincenzo.
Dante DiVincenzo.
There's no Chris Middleton.
Or Chris Middleton. All of those would have been correct. The Wes Matthews and Eric, DiVincenzo versions are the best. So we'll give John 3 points there. Chuck, back to you.
I'm gonna stay in LA, and I'm gonna go with the Clippers.
The Clippers is correct.
I'm gonna go Paul George,
Lots of them.
Kawhi Leonard, and Pat Beverly.
I'm going to say you made a horrible mistake with your first thing you answered. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 three-man units from the Clippers among the top 25 in the NBA.
None of them have Pat Beverly.
None of them have Paul George.
Yeah, no, they got Pat Beverly.
Wow.
Their best, the second best three-man unit in the NBA this year with a 28.3 net rating is Pat Beverly, Kawhi Leonard, Montrezl Harrell.
Wow.
Right behind that is Pat Beverly, Kawhi Leonard, Landry Shamet. You also have Pat Beverly, JaMychal Green. Montrezl Harrell is the fifth best unit in the NBA. So not Kawhi or Paul George. I'm going to give you 2 points, Chuck. I don't know if that's accurate or fair. Back to you, John.
Seems slightly more accurate than awarding him 5 for guessing the Lakers and then LeBron James and Anthony Davis. But okay, well, I need this to end, so let's go Grizzlies.
That is correct.
Hey, let's do John Morant, Triple J, and Brandon Clark.
I'm kind of sad. It's like you don't even listen to Grits and Grinds.
Melton.
The correct answer, yes, is Jackson, Melton, and Brandon Clark.
Yeah.
Plus 21.2. Also would have accepted Tyus Jones, D'Anthony Melton, and Brandon Clark. So that's 3 points for you, John. We got 7-6 balls in Chuck's court.
I like this. This is like whose line is it anyway scoring.
Yeah. Very much. This is PTI scoring.
Let's go with
around the horn. Excuse.
Let's go with the Houston Rockets.
The Houston Rockets is incorrect. It's
Wow.
a strike for Chuck. So 6-7. John, a chance to get back in the game.
It probably would have been good to have been thinking about this while Chuck was going. But let's go with the Mavericks.
The Dallas Mavericks is correct. They have, hang on, they have three lineups. They have three lineups in the top 25 in net rating as far as three-man units.
Let me go with Doncic, Curry, Powell.
Those are good guesses. I'm checking them all. No Curry on any of these.
He probably doesn't have the 200.
I'm gonna give you I'm gonna give you 3 points because it's Doncic, it's Powell. Your best one would have been Maxi Kleber, which I
was on the tip of my tongue.
Yeah.
I know this is a hipster game now.
That's the fourth best three-man unit. Also would have been Powell, Dorian Finney-Smith, and Maxi Kleber, which no one would have gotten. I'm giving 3 points to John, who has seized control, not control, but the lead. He's up 9-7.
My
Back to
improv
Chuck.
skills. Yes, and Chuck. Yes, and.
Let's do the Boston Celtics.
No.
Wow.
That's another strike for Chuck. John, build your lead like in darts. Extend the lead.
Let's go with, give me some Raptors.
The Toronto Raptors is correct, but there's only one three-man unit in the top 25.
Okay, let's do Fred VanVleet, Serge Ibaka, Kyle Lowry.
You got 2 out of 3, but Fred VanVleet stung you. You needed to go way more hipster. It's Kyle Lowry, Serge Ibaka, and Terrence Davis.
Wow.
That's talk about your hipster pick right
Talk
there.
about your hipster. But I'm giving you 3 points. That's now 12-7, John. Chuck, don't strike out.
Let's go with the Phoenix Suns.
I love it. It's wrong. The Phoenix Suns, I gotta say, they have. If you just
euthanize this game as goes, I'm done playing.
No, Chuck. If you do 5-man units, the Phoenix Suns have the third best 5-man unit in the NBA based on net rating. The Ricky Rubio, Kelly Oubre, Devin Booker, and Mikal Bridges, DeAndre Ayton is the third best 5-man unit, but they fail in the 3-man unit game. The big one that
seem to favor the most offensive unit you can put out there quite a bit.
The big ones that we need to notice is the top one. And I got onto this because I was looking at those clutch stats, and like I think everyone knows Chris Paul has incredible clutch stats this season, but also Dennis Schroeder does. And Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, they all have these insane field goal percentages in the clutch. And those 3 guys, Chris Paul, Dennis Schroeder, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, that's the top 3-man unit in the NBA this season based on net rating, a 28.6 net rating. Also, you could throw in a Gallinari, Schroeder, and Chris Paul, and they're plus 21.2 net rating. So anyway, when I'm not watching Larry Sanders Show and I am digging through the stats.com stats.nba.com archives, just some of the things I'm looking at. I know it's not gospel net rating, but it's fun and it's been entertaining for me. But well done, John. Coming back very steadily from downtown. 4 straight threes, wins it over Chuck 12-7.
Speaking of threes, and the reason I use the Heat is I was doing a little statistical meandering myself, and I saw that Bam Adebayo to Duncan Robinson is the number 1 assist to 3-point combination.
Really?
By an insane number.
That's crazy.
Like it's not even close. Like it's like almost double the next 2 combined. It's really wild.
Is that like total points or just assists? Like
I think just assists to the number of assists that resulted in made 3-pointers. So
yeah,
just thought that was kind of
that's wild because Duncan Robinson, I think it's like something like 81% of his points are 3-pointers, or so. It's some very, very high number. Bam Adebayo, also one of the highest field goal percentage guys in clutch time. One thing when we're thinking about the NBA, I want to ask you, John. I have an idea for a TV show while the league is shut down, but before I say it, can you copyright a TV show idea? Can you patent, trademark? How do you protect your intellectual property when you come up with once I say it? Is this now my?
I mean, Yeah, you should copyright it first.
All right, well maybe we'll do that later.
I've been farmed multiple times in meetings. There's even like a type of meeting where they get a bunch of fools like me into your like pitch meetings and just write down everything you say. And if you don't have them trademarked, they're gone. So you might want to save this for after you've done your due diligence.
All right, well maybe we'll do that. I was talking on with Dave DeFore on a Twitch stream. Came up with the best idea for a TV show. I'll table it. How's that? I'll tease it.
Wow.
No, they got to go watch that stream. Where can you find that stream, Keith?
I think just Dave DeFore's Twitch. It's Dave DeFore NBA. I assume. I was thinking about when the season restarts. And this like could have been my cream of wheat if we were doing like bests and worsts. I was thinking about how like if I was running the NBA and my priorities were to get the guys back out there and to make money, because apparently we all need to make money and the owners are freaking out that they're not making money. I don't think I would go straight to the playoffs. I think if I was restarting the NBA, I would do something weird that would garner even more eyeballs. I would do the stupid Bill Simmons play-in tournament. I would do something that gives like Zion Williamson and the Pelicans like a chance to make it. By the way, Zion Williamson, Lonzo Ball, Derek Favors, one of the best three-man units in the NBA.
Damn it.
So like just thinking about like if I was running the NBA and if they are going to wait for all the deaths to subside in like a month or something and say, hey, we're going to go big three style and we're going to isolate these guys and have them just play with no fans around. I was thinking I would probably do some either weird play-in tournament or like weird bracket where like, all right, the big money-making teams are in the playoffs. Like we're not going to risk the top 4 seeds in either conference or maybe the top 6 seeds, but like Grizzlies and Nets and Magic, you have to play your way in. And I wasn't feeling pretty good about that.
Well, I think it's kind of much ado about nothing because I feel like the season is over. I feel like it's 100% canceled and we're screwed. But if I were doing it, I would take a chance to do some weird tournament and use that Elam ending and try to find out if you can get any traction there. This is the perfect opportunity. If ever you're going to get another shot to just throw out a crazy idea, this would be it. But I feel like it's just over. Like I don't see how you can.
And I guess I could apologize for that because like for the past 2 years I've wanted like a 50-game season, and I got one. And this isn't the way I wanted it.
This is a monkey's paw situation here, Chuck.
Yeah.
I really want less basketball.
Oh,
great.
No.
Now the world is shut down.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not all like horrible stuff though. Like there's the Joel Embiid latest 76ers Twitter saga is kind of heartwarming.
Yeah.
Is it? How is that heartwarming at all?
I mean, just the little guy wins. The slightly less little guy who also happens to be 7'2"
and a multi-millionaire.
So I mean, you had the owner of the Sixers, who our Patreon supporter Patrick Hartner reminds us, he landed his helicopter in the middle of a youth soccer game and made all the soccer games get canceled because he's just a billionaire landing his helicopter wherever he wants.
That's
but
incredible. Did not know that.
He said he was making the Sixers employees take 80% of their pay. And like, I am sensitive to lots of small businesses and even moderately sized businesses are going to have to furlough workers and pay workers less. And they're going to be having to like cut corners and cut costs. Like they're all going to be losing money. And we're like, this is great. We need more people to give sick pay. And in a lot of situations, just paying 80% of your salary is like a really good. And we feel like, hey, you're doing as much as you can. That's awesome. But when someone worth $4 billion does it, and it's like you could pay these guys salaries for 100 years.
Right.
And you'd still have $1 billion. Like that is when you're like, no, this is awful. And so like Joel Embiid is like, oh, I'm going to give money to the COVID-19 crisis. And I'm also going to help out paying these employees. And the employees who weren't going to get their full salary were people who had like decent jobs. They were people making over $50,000 a year. So this wasn't a situation where it was like hourly workers, where like, oh, these people are impoverished. We shouldn't take their money. It was like, I guess, middle-class people and up, and even coaching staff and front office, like Elton Brand was saying he was going to take an 80% cut. And then it got really weird from my perspective of like a player saying, I'm going to give my money to help out like the front office, like the coaches. I don't think that's even legal. Like that shouldn't be legal.
He said all that happened is Embiid did an interview where he said he was donating $500,000 of his own money to relief efforts, period. And then he also highlighted that he was still in self-quarantine because he played against the crucifix Christian Wood. And then he said he was committed to helping out team employees that got a pay cut. And then what happened after that is then a Sixers minor. So basically he like threw shade in the like the golden rule best possible way. He's like, all right, we're going to do all the terrible things. So in response to this Twitter basically blowing up on what the Sixers were doing, Embiid says, well, I'm going to do everything the right way. And then some of the Sixers owners were so embarrassed by this that they basically, had everybody, cut it back and say that they're not going to cut employee pay and not do the thing they said they were going to do. So basically why I think it's a happy story is because it involves billionaires being shamed.
And people who have large sums of money looking like clowns on the internet is always a good thing for us.
Well, it just goes back to, I mean, it's hard not to get political, but it goes back to like, if you have billions of dollars and you haven't paid some escalating tax that is extreme on your billions of dollars, like your 1920s wealth tax of like 90% or something. Mm-hmm. It's like, if you have these billions of dollars and then you don't want to play them, you're telling your employees like, hey, this is going to be hard on us. Everyone's going to have to take a little bit less, but you have your billions of dollars and you're not taking less. Like that is where it's like, this is criminal. Like, this is like, you should not have this money in the first place. Mm-hmm. If you want to pay 90% over, I don't know, everything over 800 million gets taxed like 50%, or
these are tax-free Bezos bozos who make their own rules. And it's just, to me, nice to see Mr. Embiid go to Washington and give him a little bit of that. But I understand what you're saying. Like, there isn't like scenarios. This isn't a Frank Capra movie. This isn't, there aren't scenarios where everyone's going to suddenly be altruistic. This is people being monstrous. And, we're talking about, pulling tubes out of people's throats so that we can all go back to work soon. So
yeah, this is like this is asking Daniel Plainview to keep paying the salaries of all the. Right. Yeah.
The Sixers front office is definitely, they're going to drink our milkshake if they can. So I like to see them, get battered around with a bowling ball pin from time to time.
At the very least, their on-court product is collapsing, and I can take pleasure in that. Was there anything else you guys wanted to hit up? Anything how we should save our lives? What Jamal Murray should be doing?
I don't have anything NBA related to say or any solutions to our current crisis. But what I can do is I can give you a few Danish distractions of the week to close us out. Boys, do you remember Skinamax? I know you don't, Keith, but Chuck, do you remember Skinamax?
I remember spending the night at my friend's house who had pay cable, and yes, I do remember it.
Well, if you want to relive the glory of Skinamax and bring back that inner teenager, Cinemax right now, 7-day free trial. Get on that. Set a reminder after 6 days so that you cancel it. Watch as many monster and monster penis movies as you can handle.
Is there still Red Shoe Diaries on there? The Dave Duchovny narrated Red Shoe Diaries? Is that still a...
Let me get back to you on that one, Keith.
I actually was going to do, before we hit our distractions, for the awards segment of the program, in International Stackhouse of Pancakes history.
Oh, okay.
Wow. We're doing it.
So since we don't have any games, I was going to recognize we're talking on Tuesday night, March 24th. And this day in 1957.
What?
A certain player by the name of Tommy Heinsohn.
Oh! All of Australia on that guy.
John, that was so good with your Bob Cousy. Tom Heinsohn in 1957 was 4 for 21 from the field
so close.
in a win against the Syracuse Nationals. However, this episode is not going to be released until tomorrow, March 25th.
Okay.
And John,
Right.
in 1954, you nailed it. Bob Cousy,
Not a great shooter.
1 for 18 from the field.
Blue Chips was inaccurate. Not a great shooter.
One of the great performances, one of the great we need a word for when you make a single shot. I don't know what that's going to be. One of the great
Singleton.
One of the great singletons in NBA history, a 1 for 18 this day in 1954. And also our guy, the true godfather of the eye shop, the man who I'd never heard of until I started doing all these bad shooting searches, the man Joe Fulks, one of the earliest players in the NBA who has a career shooting percentage, I want to say, of like 31%.
Hey now.
On this day in 1948, 7 for 36.
Oof.
Shooter's going to shoot.
Lord.
Go Fulks yourself.
Anyway, he was 7 for 36, 17 points, no assists, 36 shots, no assists.
Was he like the punter? Did they used to punt back in the day? They like snap it to me, punt it, and 7 of them went in? I don't understand.
I think you nailed it. My distractions for the week. I guess I've been watching. I guess I can say the stuff I've been watching, which almost feels like cliche at this point. I branched out into the McMillions, which is weird. And I've already read the article that it was based on, and it's kind of sloppy and like homemade. And
it's a cool story, but it's really lousy filmmaking. So I cashed out.
Yeah, I think you're right there. It's a great story, and it's kind of hard to follow. But again, I guess I'm current on my Breaking Bads, I thought the Curb Your Enthusiasm season finished very strongly.
So beautiful.
Yeah.
The ending of
Wait. Did like a bunch of like threads, like a bunch of terrible people follow like really unlikely and circumstantial threads, and it all like came together at the very end in like a pretty funny scenario?
It satisfies me. Like that's
Oh man, I feel like I saw that one.
There was a beautiful ending that had to do with Purell being an accelerant to a fire.
Okay, I take it back. That does sound amazing.
And it was beautiful and timely and prescient, and there's no way Larry David
I can't watch Curb Your Enthusiasm. I live Curb Your Enthusiasm all day. Can't do it. It's a mirror that it reflects too brightly. It lights my face too brightly. No, it's not a funhouse mirror. It's a accurate ass mirror.
So what I found out is during my distraction, I'm binge watching things. What I found is I don't have the makeup to binge watch Westworld. I can watch an episode of Westworld, but if I watch more than an hour and 15 minutes of Westworld in a row, I cannot pay attention. There's just too much going on.
You know why that is?
Why?
Because it's terrible.
You should watch the old Westworld starring Yul Brynner.
I love.
Yeah.
All right, we can't all just say TV and movie stuff. So
yes, we can, because that's all we could do.
John, I've actually started reading a book. I was about to say. I haven't read a book in years, and you listeners know it because I'm an idiot who speaks poorly. But I started reading the Loose Balls, Terry Pluto's book of the ABA, and it's amazing, and I love it. And so I have actually been reading books or reading.
So I've been reading the Factory series, which is an old British crime noir series. But here's the weirdest thing I've been doing. So has there ever been a book that you couldn't read because it was in a different language and it's not available in English? Well, you can, with Google Translate, take a picture of the page and it will translate it for you. You may not get the prosaic content you're looking for with the real true, like all the art that you want out of some literature. But if you just wanted to know what happened in a certain book that's from another language, you can do that. So that's my Danish distraction of the week.
That's how I've been working my way through the Dead Sea Scrolls, actually.
Yeah. I definitely just started a book yesterday. It's called 10 Men Dead. It's about the Northern Ireland IRA hunger strike. and Bobby Sands, and it's very so far depressing and sad and about people not eating.
That
So
sounds horrifying and very close to what's going to happen with our prison situation very soon. And on that note, that wraps up this episode of Fast Break Breakfast. You guys all hang in there. Be safe. Social distancing. The Tennessee National Guard has said to stay 6 feet away from sick people. You don't know who's sick. Stay 6 feet away from everybody. That's the whole point. So yeah, everybody social distance. And let's
Rudy Gobert is just now showing symptoms, and he tested
Right.
positive like 10 days ago.
In Iceland, they tested everybody, and they found out like a fourth of the people are carriers, but they don't have any symptoms. We already know that all these NBA teams tested everybody, and most of the guys who were carrying were asymptomatic. We don't know who's carrying it. Please stay away from everyone. Anyway, support the show, I guess. Patreon.com/fastbreakbreakfast. Keep an eye out for our Millennial Brunch $500 croissant bonus episode, which will be out right after this one. You guys are the best. Thanks for listening. And remember, breakfast is the most important thing.
Let me end this call.
Yeah,
Let me get a drink of water and then we can restart.
Yeah.